And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Sorry for a couple minute delay. Had to get the Proxon up and going as the lady Drake is working on her board for Armies on Parade. So she's using the Proxon to cut herself some pieces here. So hopefully this sounds good. I didn't get a chance to test it. Should be okay. If not, hey, well, first person in gets to let me know. Aha, howdy. No, not first person done yet. So we are start the chatter. Talking about what is going on. So, as typical, first part of the night is talking about what is on our workbench. All verse viewer, and hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm hoping I'm okay. And we're talking about what's on our paint bench right now. So right now, we are working on some eliminators that I've got about 2/3 done. I have, hey, Nick, do I sound okay? Can you hear me okay?
Shit. Excuse me. Language.
And we got the three, good. We got the three Phobos, HQ units.
Oh, shit.
Language. We have the three Phobos from Shadow Spear. And then I've got my girls primed. I haven't really got a chance to really start painting on them yet. And then I have some Orc Boys that I am still working on for my kill team. So that is what is on my paint bench right now. Lady Dragon, what are you working on right now?
I am currently cutting some 1-inch paint insulation foam with a straight edge, trying not to take my fingers off. As I have decided to create a diorama / start of a large board for my Jukari / Minari.
She's doing a 24x24 board for Armies on Parade. And she's using the my Proxon to get pieces cut. We're using 1-inch board. Why are you cutting another really big piece?
I figured it'd be easier to get through Proxon, but okay.
I mean, I thought you were just going to do another 8x8. I think you're just going to do 8x8 piece.
No, I was not. You keep changing up my ideas for me.
Okay, so if we're doing it as a combat board, you only do 1 layer. If we're doing it as a display board, then you're doing 2 layers. That's fine. Hi, I'm live. Okay, so she's building. If you want to build multiple layers, build multiple layers. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. She's never built anything like this before, so she's.
I wanted to do this and start sketching it, so that would be fine.
That's fine. We're not doing a combat board with it. That's okay. No, that's okay.
No, I'm done.
Okay. And she's still painting a bunch of her Drukari. So she's going to have this board ready to go, and she's going to have like one group of witches to put on it.
A group of witches and a group of Kabbalites.
She's going to have like 12 figures on there. But that's okay. But that's okay.
Kiss it.
So the wonderful world of Warhammer, things are afoot. Frost and Fists were talking about it on Friday, and I've actually had a couple days to digest it and read a couple of the posts. and some other stuff going on. So the Raven Guard and the Iron Hands, most of their stuff has been spoiled at this point. And the Raven Guard are pretty good. The Iron Hands are straight up possibly broken. Their character, the guy they have as their character, the Pharaoh's Iron Father, something or other, he's basically a Primaris Iron Priest on steroids. He's going to be able to mend things, and instead of doing a D3, he's going to do a straight 3. For 1 CP, he'll be able to do it twice. He gives a 6-inch bubble of 5-up invul. And you don't have to be in the full bubble. You just have to touch the bubble with a unit, and you have a 5-up invul. And it just says Iron Hand units. So we're talking troops, vehicles, dreadnoughts, all of that's going to get a 5-up. The fact that he's going to be able to stand in the middle of, say, 5 or 6 dreadnoughts, give them all a 5-up invul save, be able to heal 6 points a turn, and I believe his optics allow him to go, no, you're hitting on 2s. He has an ability to give 1 unit the ability to hit on 2s. So, and he's got a Warlord trait that you can put on him, I believe, that also buffs it even further. So he literally comes down to, with the new Iron Hand stratagems, I saw a list. A lot of guys don't think it's viable yet, and I can see why, because it's not a lot of units. But you could quite literally, got the procs on right here.
Yeah, he probably will be crazy expensive points-wise.
No, that's the problem. He's all this for 110 points. I'd pay 200 for everything that he does. He's 110 points.
That's kind of disgusting.
Yeah. And the Iron Hands now also have, yeah, he's not. He's going to be 110 points. And the other thing that's bad about it is that he has there's a stratagem that if you spend it at the beginning of the battle,
This is so not working.
you can spend 1 CP and make a dreadnought a character. So I saw a list that somebody put together where they had for troops, they had 3 groups of infiltrators, which they can put way forward and out of line of sight. Pick a building that has 3 walls or 2 out of sight walls. And remember, in ITC competitive, the lowest level of any building is always unviewable. It's considered blocking terrain. So you put those 3 guys down there, you've got your 3 units. You take him, you take a captain and spend 2 points and make him a chapter master. And then you take a Phobos Psyker and take the psychic abilities. You put him you put this Phobos guy with your infiltrators, so he can use this ability to make them not targetable by anything. But they're the forward unit. You then take 6 dreadnoughts, and because you use the regular dreadnoughts, not the you take like 3 venerables and 3 regulars. You put 1 CP on each of them. It's 6 of your CPs. But they're all characters. So now these dreadnoughts are not targetable because they're characters, and they're not the closest unit, which are the 3 groups of infantry. You take the 3 groups of infantry, they're in the forward, you can't target them because they got the psyker on them. Then you take 3 eliminators and put them up high someplace, and you snipe people. They can't target you with indirect because the psyker ability makes them have to be targetable because it calls for a sight check, even for indirect. Somebody explained it all out. It's a 2,000 point army. It may not be viable against like a horde army, but against a gunline army, like an Eldar or a Tau army, you're done. You're taking 6 dreadnoughts and putting autocannons and las cannons downrange and shooting the crap out of everything. And yeah, that's exactly, that's some very smelly cheese. I was looking at the numbers and I'm just like, this is gross. I've got eliminators to snipe your characters. I've got my psyker keeping my troops holding some forward objective and shrouded so they can't be targeted. And then I got my captain in the back with my dreadnoughts, just gutta with twin. All of them seem to be outfitted. There were 3 venerables and 3 regular dreadnoughts, twin las cannon and twin autocannon, and you're just putting gobs of fire down range. Yeah, a horde's army is going to come up on you. The horde army is going to come up on you, and then you're going to have problems. But they got to get across the board. And if they've got vehicles, you're putting it all down into them. Re-rolling on ones because of the captains. With the, oh, did one of my guys actually take damage? That's fine. I'm going to use my warlord ability to make him, he hits on 2s now. It's super nasty. And I'm healing every round. I'm healing. So even if damage does get through, I'm healing my dreadnoughts. It's nasty. Like I said, if you take, if you get up close with, say, a horde army, or you get up close with, Tyranids, orcs, you're going to have problems because of the volume of fire. Imperial Guard aren't going to be able to do anything. You're going to just mow them down. Other Marines are going to have problems because you're going to chew them up. Eldar and Tau, you're going to chew them up and they're not going to be able to return fire. They're going to have to come in close. They're going to have to move. And while they're moving up, you're just putting tons of fire and tons of fire and tons of fire into them. So Iron Hands are nasty enough that I kind of want to build an Iron Hands army to complement my Space Wolves. So, and let's be honest, if you've seen the upgrade sprue, they are some cool looking upgrades. Robotic hands, robotic faceplates. The guns look like they have gears right into them. They've got, instead of having the relic pieces, they've got like baubles with gears and gauges that hang off their gear. It's a great looking sprue. Raven Guard's pretty cool too, but they're kind of specific. The big thing about the Raven Guard is that all of their guys look like they're members of Fallout Boy. So their upgrade sprue makes
Black Veil Brides.
Yeah. Their upgrade sprue makes all their characters look like members of the Black Veil Brides or some other emo band. And their abilities are still pretty cool. Let's not lie. They're just really different. They're snipers. They're snipers and eliminators. Their warlord can take a warlord ability that you can't shoot me on Overwatch. So if I charge, you can't shoot me. You put that on a captain, a smash captain. He can't be shot in Overwatch. He gets to swing in, hit, do his attacks, and then using their abilities, pick him back up, walk away, and attack somebody else. They have the ability to strike and move and strike and move. So their smash captains are pretty cool. They don't have some of the bonuses other units have, but they make up for it by you're not returning fire on them. Anybody over 12 inches away is considered to have cover, so bonuses to saves. Some of their stratagems are really, their psychic ability. They have a psychic ability that's just, they can take a unit that is within 18 inches of the psyker. They can take a single unit, and pick it up, and I think it's a charge of 7, and they can put it anywhere on the board as long as it's 9 inches away from an enemy unit. So technically, you can deep strike on round 1 without using drop pods. That's situationally great.
Hi, Ribbon. Or Dina.
So Raven Guard are good. I'm not saying they're not good, but the Iron Hands look really great. Then there's the other side of this. Yesterday, with all the Psychic Awakening stuff, they released the new images of the plastic incubi. The figures don't look all that different than... Yeah, they don't look all that different, although I'm understanding she doesn't play incubi, so I haven't seen the rules on them. But I understand the weapons on the...
Not my choice.
Right, but I'm just saying there's new rules for the weapons. I think from what somebody was saying on one of the Drukari boards on Reddit, they were saying it looks about the same. They look about the same as they were before. There might be some minor differences, but they're pretty much the same. So the incubi plastic kits, the figures aren't that different, but it means they're getting away from fine cast. 2 things about that. That means they'll be available in stores, in GW stores and other stores more easily. You won't have to sit there and order and wait. And if you don't mind ordering and waiting, I mean, they'll still be in the store, but I mean, they'll still be in the web store. But for those of us that go to GW, they'll be there. So I'm wondering if they're going to be the same deal because they usually come in packs of 5. So the plastic figures have, on a whole, been a little bit less expensive than the resin ones. So we'll see. What else did GW do? They released the pictures of the new Sisters of Battle Rhino yesterday. I think the biggest complaint I've heard about it is that, I think it was, I thought it was Kiriath that said it. I wasn't sure if it was Kiriath or Valorak that said it. But what's going on? Okay. Sorry, we have in the midst of high school and have a project going on for our theater major. So,
Somehow they became post-apocalyptic.
It's a post-apocalyptic, whatever, something.
Shakespearean play.
Yeah. But I guess the big thing about the only complaint I've heard is that it's not as ornamented as, say, give me that back.
I was moving out of the way so I could actually see the...
It's not as ornamented as the old one was.
I've never seen the old one.
Yeah, the old one was, I mean, the old one was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tina, you've seen the old one. Have you seen the new one?
And for those of you who are wondering, that's 7-Up. I'm drinking orange juice.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it looked beautiful. I liked it too. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. They actually showed a close-up of what their the anti-aircraft missile launcher is, and I loved it. So I'm looking forward to the Sisters of Battle kit.
My home's women's were playing Rhinos.
Oh, they were just playing Rhinos. I know there was a kit. There was an upgrade kit for them, and that's the thing. They made the mention about the new kit. It's going to be a regular Rhino, but there's going to be an upgrade frame in there specifically for the Sisters of Battle, which to me says they're going to probably release the upgrade sprues individually as well. So you could actually buy old Rhinos, or if you have an old Rhino, you're able to buy the upgrade frames and apply it to your Rhino. So I mean, that's cool. Psychic Awakening is in full swing. I mean, we've seen the new Banshees last week.
So very happy that they come with a helmetless option.
A Yanari version.
Which, for those of us who play Yanari and actually read some of the lore, it's really not surprising that the Psychic Awakening is very heavy in the elves.
And that's the nice thing. I mean,
to start.
And that's the big thing. Honestly and truly, the elves needed the love. Those are especially the Eldar, are some really, really old kits and a lot of fine cast kits. So people I know in the industry, and because I still talk to some of my old friends in the biz, and a few store owners and a few other people I've talked to, the thought is that GW used a bunch of that money because they had last year and the year before were two of their biggest years they've had in a long time. All their employees got a bonus, but they still made a lot of extra money. So the thought is they took a lot of that internal money and they invested it in doing a lot of new sculpts and a lot of new molds. They just haven't been very vocal about it. So the idea is that we're probably going to see over the next 3 to 4 months, we're going to see a stream of new figures. 8th edition isn't going anywhere.
No,
But I'm just saying 8th edition is not going anywhere. What we're going to see, I think, is with the Psychic Awakening, we're going to see more new figures. We're going to see more new character figures. We're going to see revamps of old figures. We're going to see them getting rid of a ton of fine cast and replacing it. And I think as they hit each faction down the chain, we're going to see that revamp. I thought it was notable for me specifically as a Space Wolves player that Fenris was on their map. They specifically noted Fenris. They specifically noted the Rock.
They noted the Rock, Fenris.
Well, the big thing about the Fenris,
Apocalypse.
the big reason to notable about Fenris and the Rock is that both the Dark Angels and the Wolves are non-standard Marines. They are some of the oldest codexes for the Imperium. I don't care. It's one of the oldest codexes in the Imperium right now. So they just did an update, a little lore update in this month's White Dwarf. I think I talked about that last week, where they made a note that one of the Primaris, one of the new, the Mark X armors is in the Deathwing, where normally the Terminators are at. The big thing about anybody who plays Dark Angels knows that the first and second companies, which are the Deathwing and it's basically the fast attack units and the heavy units. These are the inner circle. These are the specialized units. These guys are in on the deepest secrets because, Dark Angels are all about our secrets. You can't know our secrets. Well, if you're in those front two companies, you're part of the inner circle and you're into these secrets. They've now made the point that there are Primaris Marines in both first and second company. They name both of them in the lore, although they don't actually say they're anything different. They make a mention that one of them, and they give them a name, is one of the guys that's in the Mark X armor, and another one is a Inceptor, so one of their fast attack units. If that's the case, if they've got Primaris in the inner circle, then that's fully integrated. I mean, that was the biggest question about Dark Angels, was are they going to let the Primaris in those inner circles, or are they always going to be outsiders? They're in the inner circle now. So we're going to see Dark Angel updates. We're going to see those guys in the white, and we're going to see the Interceptors in the black. I mean, we're going to see them in the traditional upper level colors. The Wolves were the first Marines to actually get a Primaris Start Collecting box. It was basically just a repackage and a slight change to the same units that were in the Tooth and Claw box. But seeing that Fenris, which is also the Wolves, a non-standard codex, if they've got those two in there and they've got them in Psychic Awakening, there's a really good chance that we're going to see, I think, and from what I've talked to a few other people, I think we're going to see new codexes. I think we're going to see codexes for units as the Psychic Awakening goes on, as armies are seen as the Psychic Awakening books come out. And they were saying in the stream when they started talking about GW stream, when they were talking about the Psychic Awakening, each piece is going to affect 2 units or 2 factions at a time. Now, since all they're talking about in this first thing is the Eldar, I'm wondering if they're looking at the Eldar and the Drukhari as 2 units. They're obviously going to be the first guys gotten. Also, if you've looked at, I've been doing a lot of scouring of social media lately, and if you look at GW's Instagram feed today, there's 4 new pieces of art that are on their Instagram, and they're all Drukhari and Eldar and Ynnari art, all 4 pieces. So I don't know if it's going to be separate art. Yeah, actually, Nick. Now here's the thing: you talk about that the Tau Psychers. I have a friend of mine who has been playing the Tau since they came out in 2009, in 99 or 2000, whenever that was they came out. He's been playing them since day one they came out. There is an interesting point. If you read their lore, if you read their books, if you read their novels, the little bit they've had, the Tau have Psychers. They're just not Tau. The Tau have their races, like the Kroot. And they actually, in the books and in the lore, they've got 5 or 6 other races that work with the Tau. They have a race of Psychers that they use aboard their ships to assist in navigating. When he heard about the Psychic Awakening and looked at the map, he looked right at the map and went, hey, that's the Tau home area, and that's where the next expansion is that they've been talking about in the lore all this time. We may be looking at them finally adding Tau Psychers to tabletop armies, finally. The other thing to keep in mind is that you've also got the Necrons. The Necrons haven't gotten love. The Tau aren't going to get a lot of new armies. I'm going to be honest with you. Other than unless they introduce new figures for those Psychers, obviously they'll have to if they're a new race. The Tau figures are actually pretty new. They've all got a revamp. The buddy of mine that plays the Tau, he bought the Apocalypse box and he's like, wow, these are great. And those are like, you don't know them, it's plot work. He was like, these are really great. These are really great figures. And he compared them to the existing Tau, and he's like, these are really awesome. Tau don't really need much. Maybe the Kroot. The Kroot might, I think some of the Kroot are still in Finecast. The Kroot Hounds are definitely in Finecast. Not really commonly used figures. So these Psychers might need to be put in figure form.
I would like to point out that somebody doesn't like the Tau because you can't tell the difference between them.
I can't. I really can't. I look at the Tau and I'm like, I don't know what they are. They all look the same to me. So that being said, the Necrons are also, they're kind of in need of a refresh. They've got a couple newer figures, but then they have stuff like the flayed ones, which are old and awful fine cast. And even some of their plastic ones are really old sculpts. So I don't play Necrons. I'm really interested in them. I started reading the book that Nick from IDIC Beers sent me, and I'm started reading through their codex. I don't know if the Necrons, I don't think they have Psychers. I think they have the ability to deny psychic abilities.
I deny your reality and substitute. I reject your reality and substitute my own.
But I think as a bunch of machines, I don't think they have Psychers, other than maybe their Catan might have psychic abilities. I don't know. I'll be honest.
Isn't that what the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Void Dragon that's inside of Mars is suspected to be a Catan. We read. She really loves reading a lot of lore. It's great. I love it because I can have her read stuff and then tell me what I missed.
Like the fact that when they mentioned the Psychic Awakening, I had to go and actually pull out something that I had read in regards to this and why this is so exciting for those of us who are Ynnari players or like playing the elves or stuff like that. And I literally had to go dredge out this thing.
Because she saw quotes in there from the stuff they put on the board.
And I was like, wait, but that shit's already happened. So now we're looking at this instead. So
So that's the thing. I think the Necrons are another unit that needs some refreshes.
yeah, that's all we got.
I have sandpaper, but you're not going to get to it right now. So this is stuff you should have set up before my stream.
No, I just
It's all right. All right. So yeah.
Probably make a throw out about that. That they might be the only force that could defend during Awakening. Possible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see the Necrons getting Psychers. I mean, that just doesn't fit their aesthetic. But I don't know, maybe give them some anti-psychers. I mean, that would kind of fit them having something anti-psycher.
It would be very much needed if what I think is coming is coming.
Well, and that's the other thing. There's a lot of stuff going on with the Psychic Awakening. They're saying,
Shall I go collect the thing?
if you read the stream, if you watch the stream where they talked about it and finally gave some releases at Nova and more information about it, they are saying that the Awakening is going to be a massive change and a moving forward in the overall storyline for 40K. I mean, for those that's been playing since the early 90s, this is huge. This is potentially as big. And well, they said actually they compared it to the Awakening Storm, or whatever that the 7th edition where the Inari came about and Guilliman was woken up and all that.
Okay, so
I forget just what is the name of that campaign setting?
I can tell you.
It's on the book.
The Shattering of Bealtan?
Yeah, at the top of it, there's a thing called the Coming Storm or something like that.
Oh no, that's
Anyhow.
a completely different thing.
No, that is the same thing. It's
Okay.
the campaign. Anyhow, in that campaign setting, they're saying this is going to make that look small. They directly pointed at that campaign change, and they're saying this is going to be small. This is going to change the entirety of the complexity and the face of 40K, and they're going to move everything forward.
Okay, so for the Inari player in the room, I'm actually going to expand a little bit more on that for those of you who are aware of exactly what this event was. Prior to this event, one of the things that the GW did release is they talked about this incident in which involving the elves that would result in the birth of one who is ravenous, one who is consumes souls, very specifically elven souls, and they are the result of the elves.
Right.
We are talking about basically the murder orgy that the Drakari that resulted in the creation of Slaanesh. At the end of 7th edition, was it? Yeah,
It wasn't at the end of 7th edition.
well, towards the end of 7th edition, what ended up happening was there was
the creation of that. No, that's what I'm saying.
okay, that's not actually when that happened. Okay, so sorry, he's trying to help, but he does not read any of this. So basically what ended up happening is there was a group of Eldari that were attempting to wake up one of the 4 elven gods. One of the gods, the goddess of life, is currently being held by Nurgle in his garden, where daily he infects her with random diseases to make them better because he loves her and he wants to do this for her. And it's really weird and warped as crap. Anyway, it's not mentioned in there either.
It's not the point I'm getting at. Yes,
But there was a man whose name was Uthran Eldren, who was using a ritual to try and wake up the last of the elven gods, Ynid. Ynid is known as the Whispering God, the god of rebirth and death. He was interrupted in the middle of the summoning by the Death Guard, Death Watch,
Death Guard.
jackasses.
No, the Death Watch.
Jackasses. Bunch of Nazi jackasses. Anyway, so they interrupted and murdered everyone, which resulted in them botching the ritual, which didn't completely go the way everybody was hoping. The Imperium jerks were hoping to stop whatever it is the elves were doing. Unfortunately, they managed to wake up a seed of him. The seed of him left a ripple across the universe and shot off to Kamra, where there was a huge thing going on known as the Night of Murders. And in the arena, Yvraine, the daughter of Shadows, Queen Corsair, was dying. She actually died. She was killed. And that piece entered her and woke her back up. The rippling effect damn near destroyed the city, and her followers were able to get her out. This was the birth of the Inari, the birth of the Seventh Way, the Reborn. It is because Yennead whispered to Yvraine, sent her to meet up with Saint Celestine, who led her and a small group of her forces to the tomb of Rabut Gulamin, where it was revealed that the man was never actually dead. He had been stuck in a period of unlife and death in absolute agony and insanity, attacking anything and everything that came near him. Being in the possession of one of the crone swords, which are needed, she entered the tomb, engaged him in combat, killed him, purged the corruption from him from chaos, and then woke his ass back up. He has no memory of anything in the last 10,000 years. The last thing he remembers is engaging Fulgrim. That was the end of the 7th edition, which led us into the current edition that we're in now. Since then, she has been working with Rabut to collect a series of artifacts that he needed, as well as all the crone swords. She wields one, her second in command, the Vizark, wields one, and in the remains of Biel-Tan was where she created and woke up the avatar of Yennead, known as the Incarn, this lovely he. But this is older, and they make it a point that Yennead is about as old as Nurgle is.
Well, and here's the thing. Now, this is all going into the lore.
Yes.
Now,
so this all very much heavily ties back to what GW has been hinting at, what the Psychic Awakening is, which is why I believe that with the Necrons having potentially the ability to negate Psychers is going to be a big hand, because in the beginning of this, we're probably going to see the Chaos Forces surge forward viciously, which is going to be really bad, because a huge part of this has to do with Slaanesh, and they pointed it out with this as well.
Right, but here's the thing. It has to do with that. We're not going to see it right away.
No, we're not going to see it right away.
What we're talking about, the 7th edition series was called the Gathering Storm. Basically, it was the precursor to the Psychic Awakening. The Gathering Storm was 3 books. They're saying there were 3 books in
like
this.
That?
Yes,
oh,
there were 3 books like this. There were 3 different pieces.
Sorry, I read the Black Library.
Yeah, she's talking about the novels more. We're talking more about the campaign setting. They're saying there's going to be a series of books that every faction is going to be affected, and there's going to be 2 factions in each book. This is going to be it. If you read into everything they're saying along with the novels, you look at what their novel release schedule is, because you can find that if you go out to the Black Library. I've done a lot of data mining, going and finding out people who know things, looking at publishing schedules, looking at people who have insider information in a couple different websites, a couple dark sites that people know, people that work other places. They're really good about keeping everything on the down low. But I'm thinking over the next 6 months, you're going to see a huge overarching change. It has been rumored, again, this one I don't know how much to put faith into, but there is a persistent rumor that by the end of the year, the first year, not this year, but the first year of releases for the Psychic Awakening, we're going to finally move out of 999 and actually drop into the 41st century. I don't know how true, again, it's a heavily rumored thing, and that can be wishful thinking. That can be completely wishful thinking. But considering that we've been in the last year of the 40th of the 400th century, I mean, we've been in the year 3999. We've been in that last year for 30 some odd years.
So I guess it's time for New Year's.
It's time for New Year's to happen without needing to break the realm like, say, Age of Sigmar did. We don't need to break the realm, but let's move the story forward. The 13th Crusade failed. In the novels, it failed, yet in the game, it's still going on.
I think we're already in the Indominus Crusade, which has been set to... I could have sworn that according to the beginning of one of my books that we have already passed into that year.
Well, and that's the problem. The Black Library stuff makes it sound like... And again, they've got the whole rubber year thing because the warp makes time wonky.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
It doesn't make 30 years for 1 year. And the Indominus Crusade, I don't know if we're in the... Because the Indominus Crusade, isn't the Indominus Crusade the crusade Guilliman started when he woke up? According to the official timeline, he woke up like a couple months ago. That's it. So...
Because nobody's bothered to pull his life support.
Yeah, so... I think it's okay for 40K to be in the year 40,000. I think it's okay for it to pull into the 41st millennia. I think it's okay. I think it's time. And I think having some major changes, giving the Tau Psychers, giving the Necrons a better ability to combat. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's creating just figure out what the year is. But yeah, getting the Necrons the ability to combat Psychers, giving the Drukhari the ability to fight Psychers. Because Drukhari don't have any Psychers. Give them the ability to combat Psychers. Giving some new psychic abilities to each of the groups. Having an advanced set of psychic abilities.
Oh, look, somebody thought it was finally a good idea to stop sacrificing 1 million people to the Emperor.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, wait, never mind. You're still at it.
If they're not going to wake the Emperor up because that's too grimdark, maybe it's time to kill him and put a new Psyker on the throne. I don't know. Something needs to happen.
I will take his place, for I can be the new god. Get out of here, Horus.
Yeah.
Horus, get out.
Not Horus. Magnus.
I can do it. Get out. But get out.
All right. So, enough on the Psychic Awakening. We belabored this point for a good 20 minutes now. What else is going on? Well, Armies on Parade is coming in October. So, you got a few weeks left. Black Library submissions are still open for another week. I was going to work on something. I actually have an outline put together, and I haven't had time to write it. I haven't had the ability to write it. So my dreams of becoming a GW writer aren't happening.
For this year.
For this year. Well, I don't open it up every year, but we'll see. It's just not happening this year. Well, yeah. They need something to happen. I mean, they need something to happen.
Well, there are two rumors out there floating that either Guilliman's just going to pull the life support and take his place because he actually knows how to use it.
But he doesn't know how to use it because he's not a psyker.
Lionel's going to come back because Lionel does know how to use it, according to our son.
Yeah.
Lionel not only knows how to use the throne, but he can also fix it. But there's also another party involved in all this that knows how to use that damn throne and also fix it.
Nobody knows how to fix it. That's the biggest problem.
Well, you are aware it's Eldari tech, and they know how to use it.
Yes, and here's the thing. But none of the only Primarch that knows how to could potentially use it is Magnus. He's the only Psyker of the group. Our son is wrong.
Oh no, it's hilarious. And then there's also the talk that Russ's campaign was
Kill Team Tournament in October. Excellent.
Have fun with that shit.
Yeah, Kill Team Tournament in October. I got to come up with a new team.
Tell Ben I'm not fighting him. Not with those damn gray knights.
I am working on a new kill team for that. It should be kind of fun. I got a neat idea for them. Again,
Sorry, guys.
again, you got Armies on Parade in October.
Which I'm attempting to do something.
Ben's running it, so he's not playing.
Oh, sorry, I can't see. There's a thing right there. That's why you see me leaning over. Oh,
Speak in the way.
Well, then I have a small chance to get my ass kicked by somebody else.
Warcry. Hopefully the next two armies are gonna. They just put on pre-order this last weekend. The Beasts and the Iron Golem. So if you didn't buy the box set, and there's a new set of terrain that went on pre-order. Warcry is pretty cool. I like Warcry. I want to play more of that.
I need shades.
I really want to play more Warcry.
I just want to finish my army.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Your army is done.
No, it's not.
Warcry.
No, I'm talking about this army.
We moved down from 40K. We've moved forward. Let it go.
I would like to point out he's telling me to let it go, and yet he keeps harassing me over the fact that I have a 2,000 point Drukhari army that's still sitting in boxes. And he won't let that shit go. No, 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 no.
Oh, can you have my color bomb?
What?
My new paints. They're in the second bin over there. Second red bin.
Why are they there?
Because I wanted to. I didn't put them away. So I know Nick and I were talking about my night, and I have
Sorry, trying to cut myself.
my new paints from Turbo Dork. These are going to be color shifting paints, so it's going to be all really cool looking. People hopefully saw the build I did yesterday, the first part of that up. These are actually done.
Okay.
Hand me those two. I've got 4 of these built so far. And they're done, but I had to break up the build. Thank you.
I haven't had that much to drink, I swear.
I had to break up the build because the video, if I put it up the way it was almost an hour long. So I've got my defense wall built. I still got to do some paint detailing on 2 of the parts. But everything's been filmed at this point. So this defense wall video, you'll see this over the next part of it will be over the next 2 weeks. And then we'll start on the corner pieces. The goal, just so it's said, the goal for these is actually I want to build a gate for the middle of it.
For their stashes.
You can do either one. I haven't used these yet, so I don't know how those
Okay, not touching it.
I actually want to do a review and use them and do a review on those. I've got some green stuff flashes. I want to build a gate though for this fortress that's going to be big enough.
If only I could get him to actually run. Ooh, what is that?
He's talking about this build. He liked the build. He can't wait to see they're done. The one thing I like about these, I gotta say, they are easy to build. They're easy to detail, and the reason the video was an hour long because that's about how long That's about how long it takes to make them. So they're a quick, easy build. And as you can see, I mean, they're going to be great terrain for fighting around. Well, the idea is to have them have the corners, and then I want to build a gate in the middle. The Forge World kit that I based it on was big enough to drive a Bane blade through. I don't own a Bane blade. So I want to make the gate big enough to walk a Castellian through the front gate. Now, my Castellian's not built yet, but I believe Nick has a Castellian built. So I'm actually going to take my measuring tape and measure his Castellian or Paladin, any one of the biggest kinds of knights. somebody who has one built. I'm going to measure it so I make sure the gate is big enough for a Castellian to walk through that gate. Because I like the idea of the gate opening up and just this knight coming out going, I'm here to kick your ass. The last piece, now that's going to be the third piece of the board I make. The last piece I'm going to make is I'm going to go back to these. Is he wider? I'll have to measure then. I'll have to see. I have to see if any of the guys has a Baneblade. The last piece I'm going to do is going to be a foot-long section instead of 2 6s, but it's going to be caved in and destroyed so that it's a breach in the wall, so that people can walk through, a breach in the wall. So it's not just an impenetrable wall that people can hide behind, because that's not any fun.
And that doesn't really exist in.
No. So that is the idea. So when I'm done, I will have a table end worth of terrain. I may end up also build a forward command bunker and use it with a couple of defense lines to actually make a full table worth of terrain. That's the plan at this point, at least. So that's going to be.
That's his plan.
Yeah, my terrain videos for the next couple of months. I think my terrain videos for the next couple of months are pretty well set. There should be a good 12 videos out of that. I may take a break in the middle there once I get the old camera, which is now found, back up and filming, to do a paint video, because I want to do a paint tutorial on Death Guard, and I want to do a paint tutorial on Space Wolves at a minimum. I want to do those two guys because those are the two main guys I paint. And then I want to do an Imperial Guard video, but the problem is my Imperial Guard and the Imperial Guard I'm painting for somebody else aren't standard paint schemes for them. They're like really weird, because the person whose Imperial Guard I'm helping paint are bright red with gold, because they're supposed to be Terran Home Guard.
What was it you told me about red cards, Nick? Did they go faster?
Yeah, that's the arc thing.
No.
Yeah, red ones go faster.
No, we were making a joke about it because he was painting his. And I was like, I'm pretty sure when the orcs said red makes you go faster, I don't think that means it makes you die faster.
Mm.
And then we decided that the those guys were basically, oh, shut up. Stop looking at me like that. Stop looking at me like that. I didn't do anything.
Bottle of shade down. Bottle of shade down.
They die faster. The red hides the blood.
Yeah. So I'm doing an Imperial Guard unit of his all in red, and then my Imperial Guard are all chicks. So they're not going to be the standard Imperial Guard models.
Well, look on the bright side. At least our table's nice and colorful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the Blood Angels bottle that got spilled earlier.
That does not even look like.
That's what happens when it gets cleaned up. So I don't know. I've got a pack of custodians I'm going to be painting up. Maybe I'll show how I paint those guys too. But I mean, I spray them gold and just kind of wave red at them and they're done. Because custodians, as much as I love those figures, they're kind of plain. I mean, you can make the swords and stuff. I mean, you could go really fancy on them, but there's a reason I don't want to play custodians.
The only reason I wanted to play Custodians is because somebody had to go and show me the 3 strippers from text to speech, and I want to play a group of them. I want to play a group of them.
All right. So what else is going on? Okay, well, we pretty much covered everything Games Workshop has to talk about. What else is going on?
Black and purple Custodians look amazing, as well as white. Ooh.
White bone, yeah. Interesting.
Tina will talk about that on Friday.
Okay.
Well, what we could talk about is our hardware.
Yeah.
and the comments that have been made. That way we
Okay, so I don't know how this sounds right now. I thought it sounded fine when I was recording. I have gotten some feedback that a couple people have not liked the sound quality of the stuff I'm producing. It's part of the reason why I'm going back to this camera for doing my close-up shots. The webcam's great, but it doesn't really do really good close-up shooting. It gets kind of grainy, and sound isn't great. Sound was actually better on this. It just the video quality wasn't as awesome, as big, but so cameras being cameras.
So yes, we are aware that people are having an issue with the sound, and we do apologize for this. Kind of a little bit on the tight on the money schedule, given the fact that some of us, due to health reasons, are not working.
She's going to be going for surgery really soon.
Eventually, as soon as
we get the
insurance
fixed. So, and that's the thing. So I have a studio mic, but I have to be able to find an adapter for it, and the actual adapter I need for a computer isn't easy to find. So, and the one I did find was crazy expensive. So I can't drop that kind of cash right now. So it's a matter of a couple things working out.
Well,
so
we have talked about potentially opening up leveled Patreons.
I have a Patreon account. I just haven't promoted it much, to be honest, because it's a question of what kind of content. I don't want to just say, hey, give me money and I'll make more stuff.
Exactly.
Because that's not who I am. I do this because I want people to be entertained, and I do this because I want to share my knowledge. So there is a thought about putting forth Patreon with a tiered response, with a tiering in there, specifically aimed at hardware upgrades, getting a better speaker system, getting a better sound system, potentially getting a RAM upgrade for the machine or a video card upgrade. There's a few things that I could use to increase what I do and make it better.
But the question we were having is know what to offer as the tiers. Some people offer, a private Discord channel. Some people offer, I don't know.
Early access to videos. There's a lot of different things they get. So
we were wondering, maybe you guys can send off either in the comments or, send him a message.
Like always, I'm looking for feedback because, again, I do this for the community and I do this for the people that watch my videos. If you have ideas on stuff you'd like to see or things you think from what I do, what you think offering a Patreon level would be worth, give me some ideas. Because I could open up a Discord channel and give people feedback and tips while I'm working at my bench.
And he's at his bench pretty much every day. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing.
I could set it up so that I have the videos and then release them, a day or two early for my Patreons. I don't know. There's a couple things. So I'm just looking for some ideas and feedback from you guys, what you'd like to see.
I was wondering if anybody would like a hand-drawn picture of Lionel Johnson and Layman Russ dabbing.
And Patreon's choosing topics and future builds. That's one I've always kind of wanted. I'll be honest, the hardest thing I have is getting feedback. I don't get a lot of comments on my videos. It's like I get a couple hundred views and nobody says anything. So that's why I'm trying to do the Tuesday thing. I'm really trying to do this regular Tuesday 7:30 to 9 o'clock live stream to get people in the habit of, hey, Big D's here. Let's find out what we can do. So enough shilling. That's just something out there.
It was something that we had talked about and wanted to get, and I had suggested to him, pointed out to you guys during this talk, because this is not normally when he's crafting or anything like that. So I thought this would be a good time because this is a discussion base that he wants to, and this is his passion. It really is, and I do my best to support it. I am not very good at it. I'm better at drawing and painting.
She's a damn liar. She's not the best player yet because she hasn't played very much. But But this is just basics on a figure. She's a great painter. and we've got her starting building terrain. So,
Well, I'm the one who kind of built most of the kids.
you did the
Most of it was my idea.
whatever, but you're still getting there. You know, I did the work, you did the layout. But it doesn't matter. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Don't mind us. We do this all the time.
we love bickering. That's what we do. So, all right, enough shilling. What's on the horizon? Beastgrave from the new board game.
Oh, that one that you.
That's going to have an entirely new faction. Hey, Dave.
Patron access to templates. Oh, that's always a great thing.
That's actually a really great idea.
We do have the start of an Etsy store.
Yeah, but only the very big. But yeah, actually having like a release place, that's not a bad idea. Because I've got a bunch of templates. Hey, Phyllis.
Hello. Hello, Miss Smith.
ABDL.
What's ABDL?
I don't know what ABDL is.
ABDL.
I'm glad to see you, though. I don't know what ABDL.
ABDL is.
All right. I think we're going to end early, and I'm going to have to go in and edit some of this stuff out. So we'll pick up with this later. Thanks again, folks. I apologize. Haven't had to do with this before. So.
Yeah. Well, everybody, we hope you have a great evening. Thanks so much for sticking around and listening.
And remember, epic your board, epic your game. Game on, folks.